the exciting new podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
I'm Dana.
And I'm Connor.
Yeah.
I think I came in a little high there, but
I was just like, I gotta get this right. I can't get these intro and outros right. Today we're going to talk about Sudden Impact, rated R. Running time is an hour and 57 minutes. Theatrical release date of December 9th, 1983. Another Christmas movie.
Yes.
So it was in the theaters for Christmas.
Felt very Christmassy.
But Clint Eastwood is our director here. Our first Clint Eastwood movie, right?
Directing or acting.
Yeah.
I don't think we've talked about Clint Eastwood yet.
Yeah, this is our first Clint. I think I didn't look and see if this was his first directing credit, but do you want to try his top
It's
four?
definitely his first directing Dirty Harry, but I don't know how much that matters. There were 5 Dirty Harry movies, and he only directed this one, but who cares? I mean, I couldn't tell you who directed
And
any
this
of the other
was
4.
the 4th out of 5 Dirty Harry movies, and this was the 4th coming 8 years after the 3rd.
Oh.
So this was 8 years after the last Dirty Harry movie.
I don't want to give away my score, but I haven't seen the other Dirty Harry movies in forever.
Yeah,
and I was gonna, after I watched this, I was like, oh, maybe I'll go back and watch some of the other ones, and then I watched this, and I did not watch any of the other ones. I don't know if that tells you what I thought about this one, but it's like, I think there was enough of this.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood, I was going to say Dirty Harry's top 4, but
Gran
Clint Eastwood's
Torino?
top 4?
Gran Torino is in there, yes. That's the only movie you've seen him in, I think, right?
When I guess maybe I was a teenager, my mom took me, I don't want to say unwillingly, to see Bridges of Madison County.
I said, didn't she?
And I hated it. It was awful the whole time. I mean,
That's
that was
in
the
there.
only time
That's
I would
also
have,
in
is
there,
it?
yeah.
That I would have gotten up and left a movie. But, you know, I guess it was geared more towards women of that age, 40s, 50s, and I was a teenager, and I was like, this guy is not cute.
Is that Meryl Streep
Yeah.
in that with him? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I was like, no, that.
I mean,
God.
I think that gets a lot of accolades and stuff, doesn't
I've
it?
never seen it, ever read it. I don't know much about it.
I think it's definitely a romantic. Women love this movie. Probably no men.
Of a certain age.
Women
like
of a
you said
certain
there,
age,
right?
Yeah, like if it came out today, I might, depending on the actors, or I probably would have liked it. But
Yeah.
I was a teenager, and I'm like, who the hell's Clint Eastwood?
Was Sondra Locke in that one?
I read a lot
I
about
think she
her
was already
though.
dead by then.
She did not like Clint as
Wait,
much either. The chick from this.
the main girl.
Yeah.
They were domestic partners for like 14 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were also both married at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And she was married to a gay man.
Yes.
Yeah. I read her whole biography. I'm like, who is this lady?
And Clinton didn't keep his hands off of her. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah.
Clint.
Lovely.
Yes.
Clint laid down the law, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Clint locked that shit down.
Oh, this woman was locked down. Forced abortions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a rough 14 years there.
Yeah.
So his top
So you
4
got
are
2 of them. Gran Torino and Bridges in Madison County. That's
Good,
2
the
of them.
bad, the ugly.
Did not make it.
any of those fistful of dollars for a
Unforgiven?
few dollars
Wow.
more.
Unforgiven. Dana, 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4.
She doesn't even like the guy.
I
She's got
don't.
3 out of 4.
I just, you can't help it. Nobody's been in.
Oh, how about any of the Dirty Harrys?
No.
Sudden Impact or Magnum Force or The Enforcer or Deadpool?
No.
Or,
Is it a new movie?
Not new, but newer.
The Mule. He was in a movie called The Mule.
how about the
He's
Outlaw
been in
Josie
so many, that's why I didn't want
Wales?
to go. You know, no,
Oh,
it's newer.
The
Yeah.
Bucket List.
No.
Oh, what was the movie where they all go out to Las Vegas? Was he
Not
in
that
that with
one.
all the
I don't
other
think he
old
was. I don't know if he
guys?
did that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How about that other old guys one? Space Cowboys or whatever with Tommy Lee Jones and Donald
That's not,
Sutherland?
I didn't know that was Clint either, but that's not in there either.
I'm
yeah.
probably
How about-
mixing him up with other
and
people.
I'll say this before I say it. Like, does this include his directing? Like, are we going to get
I
Flags
didn't
of
mark down. I don't know. I think this is a directing only.
Flags of Our Father or Letters from Iwo Jima?
So wait, didn't
or,
you direct American Sniper?
Yes.
Was that up there? No.
It's not in his top 4 though. Yeah.
Was it
What
the time
about,
he talked to a chair on
Crime
stage?
Off?
I brought that up yesterday. I said that.
How about Rawhide? Rawhide.
Let me see. Did he direct this one? The movie is from 2004,
Oh.
and he did direct it. Yes, and he also starred in it.
Oh.
He played Frankie Dunn.
Is that Frankie Dunn? Oh, $1 Million Baby.
Ding 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 ding.
I did see that movie, so I have seen
I never
another
saw
one.
that one either. Yeah.
That's what's her face?
I think you like Clint more than you
Hilary
lead on.
Swank.
Hilary Swank.
and
Morgan
Morgan
Freeman.
Freeman. I don't remember him being in that though.
He's
I remember
her
it being Morgan
coach.
Freeman. I thought Morgan Freeman was her coach.
He's her dad or whatever.
Oh.
Because he's the
Okay.
one that kills her. Well,
Spoiler.
euthanizes her.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's ruining.
Ruined it.
I was not a big fan of that movie.
I think I had found out what happened before I saw that movie, so I didn't really like it
I'm
that
not a
much.
big fan of female boxing. Let's put it that way. I don't like that.
He's
I
a
like-
big fan of the WNBA, though.
Yay! I'm the fan, but that's for the fan to decide.
When a woman exacts deadly revenge on the aggressors who raped her and her sister 10 years earlier, Inspector Dirty Harry Callahan is assigned to the case. A vicious serial killer is on the loose in San Francisco, and the police trace a link to the small town of San Paulo, which is further down the coast. When Harry Callahan, Clint Eastwood, upsets the press and the mayor in his usual style, he's shipped out of town to investigate while the heat is on. With the help of his new .44 Magnum handgun, Harry goes on the trail, leaving behind the usual trail of dead criminals along the way.
He's the kind of cop that gets shit done.
Okay.
What?
I have a list of all the ridiculous times he was attacked for no reason out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
What?
Not having
Clint was
anything to
attacked?
do with the plot. He's viciously attacked by a group of people, and everyone dies but him all these times.
And they always yell at him afterwards, like, Harry, I thought I told you to take a vacation. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
these people jumped out of the woodwork.
It's
and attacked
ridiculous.
me.
He
I had to
can't
kill
go
him.
anywhere. Everywhere he went, every scene, he was like, I'm going to go to my car. 5 men jump out to attack him. I'm going to walk down the hallway. A man jumps out to attack him. It was ridiculous.
Well, that was directly related to the plot because they showed that he was on the end of another case where he was like getting that
Yeah,
crime
it was
lord, like
past people.
so they like put a
Yeah.
hit out on him, so they kept sending people to get him.
It was
It was a little much. It was a little much, but they definitely it wasn't that
At one
nowhere.
point, he came these men. He goes down wasn't an alley, but it was something, and the men come around that same corridor, and they're like, "Oh, there's a big dumpster, and there's a bunch
Oh,
of little
that was awesome.
freaking tubs," and I'm like, "He's gonna be in that tub." But they're looking over here. I'm like, he's in that fucking tub. That tub that is clearly not big enough for
Yes.
him to be in
I
there.
believe I have
and
in my
he
notes.
just
How did he fit in
pops
that
up
thing?
out of that thing all easily popped up like he was just sitting in there chilling with all the room in the world. Just pops out of that tub.
Plus,
It's
Clint Eastwood
stupid.
has to be 50 at least in this movie,
Yeah.
and I'm not popping that shit
I mean, he's
these
a
days. so I
skinny
don't know how he-
man, but he's still tall. And you'd have a short, skinny person having a hard time getting out of that tub.
I actually
What's it called? A
thought
barrel, not a
during
tub.
that scene that he was going to like climb down on the like edge of that like catwalk and kind of like shimmy behind them.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, he is in the barrel. What the fuck? I'm like, okay.
Because they obviously show them looking at the barrel.
Oh yeah.
Clint is
No, we're not going to shoot that. We'll put 500 bullets into this.
Yeah.
Maybe they also thought like, there's no way he's in there. There's no
Yes.
way he's in that barrel.
So, like, we read the script. There's no way this guy could be in the barrel. He was in the barrel.
Clint was 53.
53.
Yep. During
Damn,
the filming of this movie, he's
look as old
93
as
now.
Clint, do I look as
Wow.
old as Clint Eastwood did in this movie?
You
No.
look younger.
No.
Do I? Thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
he had a lot of sun. Spent a lot of time in the sun,
all
looking
those
type of
spaghetti
face.
westerns.
Yeah,
Starring,
He's 93 now. Wow. Okay, go Clint.
yeah.
playing Harry Callahan was Clint Eastwood. Dun, 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 dun. We already did his top 4 and everything, so we'll get right into Sondra Locke,
Oh boy.
who played Jennifer Spencer. She died in 2018 from cardiac arrest.
Oh,
age
she died.
74.
I thought she died in the 90s or something like that.
No,
Oh, okay.
2018, yeah.
She just stopped doing movies, I guess, in the 90s.
She did stop, yeah.
I couldn't
She
name
played Jennifer
anything,
Spencer.
anything she did besides a Clint Eastwood movie. I don't know it.
You named one of her movies already.
Was she in
this
another
is one
Clint
of them.
Eastwood?
Well, she was
Sudden
in.
Impact is in her top 4.
She was
Yeah.
in Outlaw Josie Wales.
Outlaw Josie
and,
Wales is in her top 4. She's in Every Which Way But Loose.
Oh, she was in that. Okay,
And
all
she's
right.
also in Bronco Billy.
Oof, I never saw Bronco Billy.
What?
I don't know that one.
Pat Hingle played Chief Jannings. That's one of the guys that...
Which there's so many people in this where I'm like, oh, I know him.
don't
but,
ask me which one's what, 'cause
okay.
I don't know.
Well, wait, say his real name.
Pat Hingle
I
played
know him.
Chief Jannings.
He's the one. He's the San Paulo chief that gets killed at the end.
Oh, okay.
Because I knew him as soon as I saw him. I'm like, I know him from something, and it took me a while to figure out what I know him from.
I think
but,
you knew him from Batman and
yeah,
Robin.
He was the Commissioner Gordon in the Michael Keaton.
Oh.
All 4 of those
Oh.
Like through Val Kilmer and George
Really?
Clooney.
I
He was the
don't
commissioner in
remember
all
that.
4 of those movies. Yeah, Commissioner Gordon. But if he did anything else besides that, I don't know anything else he did.
Yeah, Hang 'em High,
Oh,
The Quick
okay.
and the Dead.
Okay.
Captain Briggs, which one's that?
I'm going to say he was the captain that
Made him go on vacation.
Yeah, he was like Clint's kind of friend, one that was like, Harry, you got to go on vacation. Just go away for a little while.
That's Bradford Dillman.
Okay.
He played Captain Briggs. He died in 2018 also, age 87 from complications from pneumonia. His top
pneumonia is
4.
not that complicated, man. I had it. You just get over it.
Yeah, but when you're old,
Yeah, when
you
you're
don't.
87, pneumonia is not the same
That's
as when
like
you're...
a
It's
death
easy.
sentence.
Just sit in bed for a while and relax. I don't know which guy this is. There were so many guys that just looked
He was in
familiar,
Escape
but
from
they're-
the Planet of the Apes,
Okay.
Piranha. I like that movie from 1978,
Mm-hmm.
Piranha.
But I'm still not even sure which guy that was. It's so funny how all these cop shows or movies from the 70s and 80s had to have the like captain always like screaming at
Oh
his
my God.
guys and
Overacting?
It's like he's always right.
Yeah.
Why are you always screaming? He's always he's going to be right. Why are you
But I think
screaming
we
at him?
notice it more in this one because all the time, every time Clinton's always like, yeah, you know, he's going to talk like that.
Are you telling me not to shoot the bad guys?
I know we're still doing the cast, but the problem that I had was that they got to the make my day line way too early in this
Yeah.
movie. I felt like it was
And
like
the
3
second
minutes
time
in.
he says
felt
it,
like,
it's
yeah.
just an eye roll.
Well,
like,
when he did it again,
he
I'm like,
says it again.
I didn't know he did it again.
Yeah.
That was,
So-
Yeah, doing it the second time kind of ruined it. I thought.
Yeah.
But-
I did want to mention, like, you told me, because I haven't seen, this is actually my first Dirty Harry movie.
Me
I didn't
too.
have time to fit in the other ones, even though I wanted to.
yeah.
And you mentioned, like, oh, this is like that line is in this movie. And I'm like, oh, okay, I know that line. Like, that's, like, so, like, famous. And, like, 15 minutes in the movie, he says it. I'm like, what? I'm like, is that it? I'm like, he says it now, like, at this? And then, obviously, he says
Yeah.
it again. I'm like, oh, okay.
But
okay.
that first time was like that was the one
That
they
was the
always
one,
showed,
yeah.
that clip where he's like
Oh,
got
yeah,
the guy
sure.
with the girl. Go ahead, make my day. I'm like,
Yeah.
oof. Why would you rob a diner on a corner, on a busy corner with windows all around in daylight?
feel like
that
that
was
was
a
your-
really bad setup, I thought.
I feel like that was your 80s diner, was the
Yeah.
windowed buildings, like...
Because the coffee.
I came to.
was in,
She's been
to
giving me the
complain.
same coffee for 10 years, and today she put sugar in
It
it.
looked like the same diner as Pulp Fiction, that whole,
Yeah,
like,
it did have
windowed
that,
diner,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that aesthetic.
Again, why would you rob that
I don't
diner?
know, people keep trying it, I guess.
Somebody's going to get it eventually.
Who's going to do the movie where the diner robbery is actually successful?
They tried it in Diner. Thank you. I'm seeing myself out. Playing Mick was Paul Drake.
Mick.
Mick.
Which one was Mick?
I don't know, but he's known for Sudden Impact, Beverly Hills Cop, Hardcastle and McCormick, and Midnight Cabaret. It's high up in the credits, so I thought we should have known him, but I can't think of who Mick was right now.
I only know...
Oh, Mick is the final guy.
Oh.
That's Mick.
And he was super
yeah,
creepy
yeah.
looking, that
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah,
yeah.
what a freak.
He was creepy looking with that. Like,
But, like, this is one of those movies where
Especially his mustache.
the main bad guy doesn't get revealed until, like, 3/4 of the way through the movie because
Yeah.
you thought it was the girl. Like, she was the boss of the bar. Everybody kind of was afraid of her, and...
well, Sondra Locke is the bad guy in this too, pretty much.
Is
too,
she?
Right?
No, come on.
She's committing murder.
Justifiable.
Deserved murder.
That doesn't mean she's not going to do any time. She got lucky here because she was blowing Harry. But
Yep.
I think that Mick, all of a sudden, they just because I thought it was going to be the guy that I don't even remember which guy it was. He was the one that he shot or she shot him. I guess it was the third one she killed. Doesn't even matter. But he seemed
In the
to be
garage?
Yes, it seemed to be they were setting him up to be the main bad
Yeah.
guy. And then she killed him. I'm like, oh, I guess it's not him. I guess it's the woman. And then
Because
it
that was the
wasn't her
same guy
either.
that worked at the hardware store, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Was his father the cop?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the father of the cop is the one that was in the wheelchair. The guy that
Oh, that's right. I
he
forgot,
drove
yeah.
his car into the brick wall or whatever, gave him the nonstop coma.
Yeah.
Man, that's a way to go, man. Just be drooling on yourself for like 40 years until someone finally decides to put a pillow on your face and say, enough. Like, how good do you feel the next day you wake up? You're like, I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Oh my God.
Come on, you wouldn't want to
He
deal with
doesn't
that.
have to deal with it either.
Audrey Neenan played Ray Parkins. That was the female bad guy.
The redhead girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was pretty convincing.
She was in
Like a
Departed. I don't
crazy
remember her in
person. Oh, really?
Departed. Yeah.
Wow.
Must
I
have
don't
been a very
remember.
small
Yeah.
Yeah,
role.
probably.
Because I was going to say there's only one woman in the movie. And that was not her role, the girlfriend.
It was like 30
Viggo
Mark Wahlbergs. That was that movie.
Yeah.
It's all the Boston folk.
Playing Kruger was Jack Thibault.
Kruger.
Jack Thibault.
So many of these names are just like, I don't even know
Kruger
which
was the
guy
guy
that
on
was.
the beach.
The problem with this movie is it has all these people that you don't know their names. They're not household
Yeah.
names. Like when we have Clint Eastwood, obviously, but when you have Albert Popwell, you have no idea who the hell that is. You know what I mean?
Where's our guy Horace? All right, that was his
That's
name?
who
That's
played
Albert.
That was him.
Albert Popwell played
Okay,
Horace. Yeah.
okay. That was the only guy, like the only other person besides like Clint Eastwood as a protagonist. I'm like, oh, Horace, that was another character.
That was a really weird setup because when you first meet him, it's when Harry's already on vacation. He's just, I'm on vacation now, so I'm just going to shoot, at some
Go to shooting
silhouettes
range,
here.
yeah.
And then Horace comes out of the car with his shotgun. And you're like, already, you're like, well, obviously this guy's not going to kill him because he could shoot him from a mile away. And
Yeah.
he keeps getting closer and closer and closer. And finally, Harry turns around and
Was
sticks the
he
gun in
in?
his head.
I thought maybe he might have been in other
Well,
movies.
I was thinking about that. I was like, if you had watched any of the other Lethal Weapon movies, or Lethal Weapon, what is this fucking
Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry movies?
There you go.
Well, I was thinking like, if all of a sudden that was like Danny Glover sneaking up on Mel Gibson, you would be
Yeah.
like, well, obviously he's the friend from the first three movies, you know him, but I don't think it was set up that way. It seemed like he didn't know who he was. Like you as a audience member wouldn't know who he was because you see his face, you see him creeping up on him, and then he turns around and he's like, "Hey, Horace, how you doing?"
Yeah, and it would
So-
have made his fate much more impactful
Sure.
to the audience.
Sure,
Where
sure, sure.
here it was like, okay,
Although Clint was kind of broken up about him, and then he saw Meathead come out of the bathroom limping. He's like, "Meathead, you're hurt."
I have some points about Meathead.
oh,
but
I saw much more of Meathead than I wanted to.
I do want to say that there was definitely a bit of since Clint directed this movie, there was some directorial dishonesty, if you will, when Horace was like getting out of the car and he like slowly and quietly took the case off his shotgun and was like ducking behind trees, and I'm like, and then at the end when he's his friend, it's like, all right, so that was all just like nonsense just to make us feel the other way, but now his character actions make no sense.
Now,
Yeah.
I have seen this movie before. I saw this movie many, many years ago, so I don't remember a lot of anything, but I thought what was going to happen is Horace was going to take a shot at one of the silhouettes there and blow it away, and of course Harry's going to turn around and be like, "Huh?" And he's like, "Oh, Horace, what are you doing here?" But they didn't go that way. They just had him sneak up on him and pull the
sneak
gun
up
on him.
as two cops. One sneaks up on the other, and as he's shooting his gun. That makes a lot of sense.
That's how accidents happen.
Lieutenant Donnelly.
That's how accidents happen, indeed.
Lieutenant Donnelly was played by Michael Curry. I only bring him up because he was his top four had Sudden Impact, but I also had Halloween 3, Season of the Witch,
which we've
played
done.
Rafferty. I didn't know who that was off the
We
top.
probably talked about him last year.
And then he was also in Airplane 2, the sequel, but it was just Businessman number 1, so it wasn't anything like. And then the Deadpool.
If you want to hear about Rafferty, just listen to our Halloween 3 podcast from last year, and I'm sure we talk about him then. We probably say, "Oh, he'll be in Sudden Impact next year. We'll talk about him next year."
There's not much really to talk about the cast. I mean, a few more I'm going to bring up, but Nancy Parsons, she played Mrs. Kruger in this movie.
The fish market.
Yeah, do you know her from anything?
Wait, who?
Mrs. Kruger.
The fish market.
She worked at the fish market with her brothers, who were
Jack.
also part of it. And
You when Clint goes in there and beats up those two guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know who that is?
I can't picture her face now, so no, I don't know who that is.
Ooh, we did it too. We did this movie.
Who is she?
She's Balbricker from Porky's.
Oh, yes. Now that you say that, now I remember her being there. Yes. She pulls the gun on him. Yeah. Okay. As soon as I saw her, I knew who she was. Yep. Okay.
Let's see. We have Kevin Major Howard, Full Metal Jacket.
Yes,
Death
he's-
Wish 2.
That's the blonde kid at the very beginning that's on trial. That
Because
Harry-
we saw him in Death Wish 2.
yes, he's in Death Wish 2, and then Harry accosts him in the elevator, and they're the first guys that
Where they're all
shoot
like
at
laughing at him in court.
Yeah.
That was one of his
he's-
best lines.
yeah,
when he's like, you're just dog shit.
Yeah.
He's like, a lot of things can happen to dog shit, and then it goes on about that.
Yeah, he's Private Joker's photographer in Vietnam. They're sitting at the chair together when Gilbert's girl, what's her name? I Love You Long Time.
Oh, yeah, Papillon Susu.
He's sitting at the table with Matthew Modine when she comes up in
Yes.
propositions that.
Yep. Lois DeBanzi, she played the judge.
And I know her too. As soon as I saw her face, I'm like, I know her from
You
somewhere.
know her from a lot of stuff.
Oh.
Ready? Here it comes. Naked Gun, 33 1/3, the final insult.
Wow, what do I know her from in that?
Adam's Family Values. The movie Annie. The original Annie.
Because she kind of
Who
looks
is
like
she in
Carol Burnett,
Annie?
but she's
I don't
not
remember who she
Carol
is.
Burnett for sure.
Arachnophobia.
Oh.
With John Goodman.
I love Arachnophobia.
And then she's known for one episode of each of the following episodes. Give Me a Break, Taxi, Aftermath, Hill Street Blues, Punky Brewster, 2 episodes of Cheers, Amazing Stories, Who's the Boss, Mama's Family, Family Ties, 2
Wow.
episodes.
Wow.
She gets around. Good
Yeah.
for her. I really wish I knew what she was from.
What's her name
Naked
again?
Gun
Lois
3.
Banzi.
She was the judge.
Lois DeBanzi. DeBanzie. Yeah, she was the judge in the very beginning there.
Now, you didn't talk about him yet, so I'm going to bring him up. The mob guy that Harry goes to his daughter's wedding and accosts him at the wedding.
Was that the Ambrosia? Carmen Argenziano?
Yes.
Was that him? From Blue Streak?
And
The accused?
that is Frank Pantangeli from Godfather 2. He's the one that is going to rat on Michael at the Senate hearings and ends up slitting his wrists and dying in the bathtub instead because Tom Hagen told him to do it. And when Tom Hagen tells you to slit your wrists in the bathtub, you do it.
Do it.
But it was so funny because he still got that same voice. He's got that voice like this. Michael, I never didn't like you, Michael. You've seen Godfather 2, right?
No, she didn't.
I have not.
wow.
No.
I don't ever plan on it.
Oh, my
Really?
God.
Godfather 2?
Whatever.
Look, if she wanted to watch a good movie,
Yeah.
It was so
when
funny
it comes
because-
up on this podcast, or are we past it?
that's the 1970s.
But
Oh, yeah.
Daniel is watching Gen V now.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
So
at one
good.
point, when Sam is trying to figure out Meg, is that her name, the blonde girl that shrinks?
Meg.
Is that the blonde girl that shrinks?
Emma.
Emma. He's trying to figure out if she's real or not, and he's like, "What's my favorite movie?" And she's like, "I don't know. You're a white guy. It's Godfather or
Yeah.
Star Wars or Shawshank Redemption." And Daniel like turned and looked at me. I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Those are your favorite movies." I'm like, "Well, I'm a white guy."
Yeah.
I guess.
Just remove
I guess that's
Shawshank
what
and
it
you're good
is.
to go.
Shawshank's awesome.
Overrated.
No, it's not. I don't know who he said this to. Maybe when Horace sneaks up on him, maybe he says this to him, and he's like, "I know there was something wrong with you because nobody puts ketchup on a hot dog."
I have that line too.
That's when
Who's he said that to?
when they're investigating the body, the first guy she kills, and they're on that overlook on the San
Yeah.
Francisco Bay there, and
That
he
was
comes he comes walking down chewing on a hot dog,
Oh,
and he
that's
says,
right, yes.
"Nobody puts ketchup on a hot
A
dog."
lot of people say that. A lot of people are
I-
very anti-ketchup on hot
agree with
dogs.
that.
I
It
don't
was so
put
funny.
anything on my hot dog.
Oh my god, I douse it in ketchup.
Michelle puts ketchup
Nothing
on a
on
hot
my
dog.
hot
I'm
dog.
like, really? I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
why? Gross.
Carrie does that too.
Gross,
Yeah.
gross,
that,
gross,
that
gross,
line
gross.
was so funny because I was just like, "What? That's what you were gonna say?" Like, I just love that. Like, no matter how much cheese are on the lines that he's delivering, he's so like
Serious.
hard-nosed, like stoic about it.
That's
and
Clint
it's
being funny.
It's so funny.
Nobody puts ketchup on a hot dog.
It's like everything
It
hurts
lives.
for him to say it too.
Yeah.
It always hurts.
He's only 53. Imagine listening to like a 90-year-old Clint direct your scenes now. Okay, you're gonna go into the.
Do you think he freezes up like Mitch McConnell?
Getting old's fun.
This is the highest grossing of all the Dirty Harry films.
Wow.
I remember this being a big deal when this came out. having just watched it, I don't quite understand why, but that's all right. I guess we needed. It's not what 2023 needed. It was what 1983 needed. They needed a new Dirty Harry movie.
That
Reagan
phrase
was in the office. E.T. had just come out.
The phrase "Go ahead, make my day" was actually made famous a year earlier by Gary Swanson in Vice Squad.
Is that a show?
Really?
I don't know what Vice Squad is.
Wow.
Sounds like an of his show.
It
Probably
sounds
takes place in
police
Chicago.
squad, right? Like a police squad. From the files of Police Squad. He said, yeah, it was said the line, "Go ahead, scumbag, make my day," to Wings Hauser, he said it to, who played a pimp during a bust. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, we're back at the kennel.
Michelle's supposed to be keeping those dogs quiet. I'm no expert, but like when you shoot a man at point blank range inside a car, first of all, you're going to be deafened. She popped right out of that car right away, and
She didn't have any blood.
She comes back to that crime scene wearing that same white skirt, and I'm like, you would think that there would be some blood on you.
You would think.
Yeah.
think.
I was
She shot him
really
twice,
rooting.
too.
Yeah. I was really rooting for that. When it first started, I'm like, oh, he's so... I hope she stabs him. I really hope... Is she going to stab him? Please stab him. And then she shot him, and it was even better. And then she shot him twice, and that was even better.
Well, she shoots every one of them in the junk first and
Yeah.
then in the head, but I don't think she lets them suffer enough.
No, I agree.
She
Let
shoots
them
him once, and then she immediately shoots him in the head.
You got to let it sink in that they just got shot in the junk
Yep.
and let them think all the thoughts about how their life is over. And then you shoot
And
them.
then you end their life.
I
Yeah.
think she's also kind of like going halfway for the efficient kill on
Yeah.
top of the like
Oh, yeah.
the statement. So she didn't want to like linger and get caught because she's like, I need to get all of them. So
Yeah.
that's how I looked at it.
It was
at
weird
least.
though because like those guys, the whole group of them, the whole group of rapists, never kind of like moseyed too far from their original
Well, no.
location. But she was when she was talking to her comatose sister, she was like, "I found one of them on like I saw
Oh,
one
yeah.
of like it was almost like she
But she saw him in San Francisco, right?
and she like fell upon him and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get revenge on you." But like if you wanted to revenge, just go down to San Paulo or whatever the hell they were all hanging out.
Yeah.
And you could have killed all of them first. It was almost like she like wasn't planning on doing revenge until she just happened to run into that one guy.
Yeah.
And then it started the whole thing, which may be actually what was the plot of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Not quite sure.
I can tell you one thing. It was not the dog's fault she fell off her bike. It was her own damn fault.
It's dramatic.
It's always funny
Oh my
watching
God.
someone try to act falling
Yeah.
off a bike because it never looks
No.
natural. So
And the dog was like 50 feet away when she first started falling.
Yeah.
Oh, how about hitting the brakes? Like, and then she yelled at the dog to shut up, and it wasn't even making any noise.
I thought that it was
It's annoying.
pretty insane that like when they were like replaying the scene, like I don't know if they mentioned it, like
the rape scene, or
yeah, and I didn't know if they mentioned it at first that was her sister, but like when she later says like, "Oh, that's my sister," that like also was like raped with me. I'm like, what? I'm like, they've been calling her a dyke this whole movie. I was like, I thought that was like maybe her like girlfriend, and I'm like, what? Just because you don't want to get raped, you're like you're crazy. Like it's actually, I was like, these people are insane. I was like, good thing she's shooting them. Like, it's like
Yeah.
what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are psychos.
It has been estimated that Clint Eastwood earned around $30 million for this movie.
Wow.
Around this time, Eastwood's salary on movies took 60% of the profit, where Warner Brothers got 40%. Damn,
Nice.
that's
Actors can't stick it to the studio anymore.
yeah, right.
At least he was getting his when he could. Wow.
when the diner's getting robbed and he just like starts unloading on every guy in there, there are so many innocent people around that he
Yeah.
just does not give a shit
Nope.
about
Yeah.
innocent bystanders. Like there's people running everywhere, just like, and he, listen, Clint Eastwood's got really good aim, but
Yes.
Why do we know why?
because
Well,
he hit
just-
every bad
yeah.
guy, never one of the innocent
Yeah.
people.
He's only
listen,
got
this
good
is the
aim
fourth-
because he's the one who
Yeah.
directed
But this
the
is
damn
also the
movie.
fourth Dirty Harry movie. We are now supposed to assume that he doesn't hit innocent bystanders, but man, those bullets were just spraying all over the place, and he hit everyone he wanted to
Yeah.
hit.
Except when then you're rolling up to a bank robbery and you see a man shooting a police officer. You stop your car and you could have just hit the guy. The guy had his back to him. Why didn't he just run him over?
Wait, which one's this? Wait,
when
wait,
he pulls up to the bank robbery, the random bank robbery that just so happens to be going off when he's there.
In the quiet town that he's going to relax in,
and then instead of he comes up behind the guy who's just shooting in the middle of the street, he pulls over and gets out of his car instead of just running him over.
Yeah.
You're going to kill him anyway. So then he chases him all around town, and he just so happens to catch him in front of the murder suspect. In front of the lady.
And he also knocks him into a bunch of flowers and says, "Weed you your rights." And I was like, "Oh, Clint, please,
scene.
no, not weed you your rights." No, you didn't say that.
That scene was like kind of silly, but it was all worth it to me for when he like hijacks the bus and all the like elderly people in the back like, "Get that sucker!" And they're like freaking out.
Police officer in pursuit of a criminal.
Yeah, that was so fun.
I don't know if I've seen so many of these kinds of movies and parodies of these kind of movies where I was expecting that to be they were filming a movie and he just happened upon it. I know that happened. There's a Lethal Weapon movie where that happens where the daughter's filming a movie or a video or something like that, and they are there and she's running for her life, and Mel Gibson comes out and beats up the guy, and of course it turns out it's just an actor. And I thought that was happening here. I was like, what are the chances that there's a bank being robbed just as Clint Eastwood's pulling up? And that's what was happening.
But it's also not his jurisdiction, dude. Just keep driving.
And I felt really proud of him because he was able to keep up with that much younger guy as they ran a lot.
Yeah.
Because believe me, when I watch things now, I'm like, well, I would have been done. Like as soon as they turn the corner, I've been like, I'll get you.
What do I got here? I was going to say, lead actress Sondra Locke was older than all of the actors playing her rapists and 21 years older than the guy on the street who catcalls her near the beginning of the film.
Oh, when they just block her car from driving
She
over
was
the
also
right.
She was also 6.5 years older than the actress Ray, who was clearly meant to be older than her, and 11.5 years older than the woman who played her sister, even though they were meant to be close in age.
Now,
she looked good for her age then. I mean...
It was really funny when they de-aged her, because they did de-age her, when they go back to the...
both of them.
Where was she working at?
Like
a flower shop or something like that? And they took all of her freckles away and stuff like that. You could see they like caked on the makeup to make her look younger, I guess.
Yeah.
Although I think freckles make you look younger, but...
She was supposed to be a college student, right?
Yeah.
And her sister was in high school.
Yeah. And I'm no expert on comatose patients, but I really didn't think comatose patients like stared off into oblivion. I thought they were kind of like in a bed with their eyes closed. Wouldn't your eyes dry out if you're just like sitting there?
She did blink. I kept watching.
She blinked and she cried.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some recognition
I
in
think
there.
you
So
could be catatonic, right? That's a little bit different.
Is it? Yeah,
it is
I'm no expert
in a
on
coma.
traumatic brain
Like
injury.
K-Pax, if you remember that movie, there was a catatonic
I try
person
not
in
to
that.
remember that movie.
Where was it?
I like how he kept driving. His car's on fire, and he's just driving. And then one of the little, whatever they're called,
Molotov cocktails.
doesn't explode, so he just picks it up and throws it. But
and that he threw that on the windshield and it exploded on the windshield, and they drove and drowned.
Yeah.
Like just because it hit
It
your
was
windshield
outside of the car. He drove with his whole back seat was engulfed. He's driving just fine.
Yeah, for a
It's
while.
on the outside of their car. They lose control, go off a cliff into the water,
Like
and they
the
all
flames
die.
are like they're right there by his hair. It's
Yeah.
It's because he's Clint Eastwood. He's a superhero.
The one very funny thing about this is so much of the action takes place on like docks or boardwalks where people can end up in the water, because that happens to him when they're beating him up later. He just jumps into the water and escapes that way.
That scene was insane. I was like, what are you trying to do here? Because I'm like, if you're trying to beat him up to knock him out, you guys are horrendous, because he should have been knocked out like 30 punches ago. And if you're trying to kill him, what are you doing?
Kill him.
You're just like, I don't know what their goal was.
Well,
their goal was to
same
get him in the water, I guess.
Yeah, same with the girl. I forget her name, but she took so
Sondra
many
Locke?
hard punches straight to her face by that man, and there was like a little drip of blood.
Yes.
And she was walking just fine. I would have been dead. Dead.
Many
She's
of
a tough
Those
girl.
people from the 80s are built better than you.
Yeah.
They can take a punch.
Definitely.
The actors who auditioned for this film were not told it was a Dirty Harry picture. They were the scripts that they had were for the auditions were replaced Harry Callahan with the last name Donnelly, so it was Harry Donnelly. I was thinking of Ned Donnelly. Who's that, Andy?
What?
Ned Donnelly.
I don't know who Ned Donnelly is.
That's
I'm sorry.
Tom Hanks' character on Family Ties.
Jesus Christ. Was he an alcoholic or something like that?
He hit Alex.
He beat Michael. Yeah, Michael J. Fox.
He hit Alex. Yeah. He hit Alex.
I did notice. I don't know if this is going to be in Jason's notes
What do
over
you got?
there, but I saw that Meathead, the bulldog, which by the way, they could not have found an uglier dog. And like I think bulldogs can be cute. They
Yeah.
found the ugliest, dirtiest looking mongrel.
Well, he wasn't even a puppy. They got like an adult.
Yeah.
You know, you give someone
Yeah.
a dog as
I
a
wasn't
gift. You get a
expecting
puppy,
any
right?
like fart humor either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fully intact view of the dog's ass with a fart
I was
put
like,
in it.
come on, Clea.
So-
Like,
fart jokes, really? What are you
yeah.
doing?
Did anyone notice that they had multiple dogs because they had a female and a male
Oh, I
dog
did not know
playing
that.
Meathead
Oh,
depending
really?
on the scene? Like
I
there
didn't
were some
notice that,
scenes
no.
where there was like distended nipples, and then other scenes where it was like a flat stomach and like his junk was hanging out. And I'm like, oh wow! So they were just like switching ugly bulldogs depending on the scene.
Do you think?
And I was like, wow.
Do you think
okay.
there's a casting call for like ugly bulldogs? Like
I don't know.
bring your ugly bulldogs to San Francisco. And speaking of San Francisco, the first like 5 minutes of this movie is the credits. It's the helicopter shot
Long
around San
credits.
Francisco.
Yeah.
At night where you can't see anything. You could have said it was Detroit. I wouldn't have known it was San Francisco. It's like, why are they're filming in San Francisco all the time. Why would they do a nighttime helicopter shot around and be like, San Francisco's kind of nice.
I don't think I know what San Francisco looks like at night. I could pick out
Not
Philly at night.
nowadays,
I
yeah.
could pick out like Chicago at night. San Francisco,
But you
no.
couldn't have told
Yeah, you can pick out
this at all.
So you
Night.
think? I don't think so.
It was a very
Yeah.
ugly looking
The bridge.
opening
well,
credits.
okay, except for the bridge, yes. But I'm talking like the
Alcatraz.
building.
So you start there. You start the bridge and you go up and
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I know I'm in San Francisco, and you have like that kind of light behind it so you can see all. It was just a dark, dank looking city. We hated cities in the 80s. We just hated them. we just made them all gross and
New York was
crime
so
ridden.
grim,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, smoke always coming out of the manhole covers
Like the
and
beginning
stuff
of
like
Police
that.
Academy, you know, like that's so dark and grim. Ed Harris was offered the role of Mick.
Interesting. I wonder
I'm
if
glad
his
he didn't
career
do
would have
it.
turned out any differently if he had taken it.
Yeah.
This is the only Dirty Harry movie not primarily set in San Francisco.
But it's a lot of it's in San Francisco. But he is a San Fran cop, so I guess.
It's the only Eastwood Locke film in which they do not kiss.
But he hit her at least once, right?
Well, she asked for it.
Oh, that's the other. He had, and I was like laughing out loud at this because I didn't expect it. He had no remorse for just punching women in the face. When
he
they,
punched
Yeah.
shot
two
him.
women like
I
hard
know.
in the face.
I
was
mean, the
like,
redhead
holy
deserved
crap.
it.
I
Oh,
guess,
but
but-
jeez.
And Sondra Locke was used to it.
Well, like most of the time, like in that situation, like yeah, he's like probably needs to do something, but like in so many other movies, there's like a hesitation or like they're
There's
trying to
been
do
so
something
many
else. and
movies where he's
nope,
like,
and bam.
Yeah.
There's been
Like,
so many movies where the guy doesn't hit the woman and he regrets it because she pulls
Yeah.
out a gun or someone gets
Yeah.
a jump on him or something. So he was just like, I've seen all those movies. I'm just picturing the face.
And he kicked her in the butt. And one point,
Oh, yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
kicked her ass and she fell over.
And they all started laughing maniacally together. That was crazy. He's just like, all right, I'm out of here. This is weird.
Ray Liotta auditioned to play one of the punks in the film. He obviously didn't get it. Yeah.
It would have been definitely a better movie if he was like the main punk. I think added some,
maybe
high caliber.
You'll
But
like
he was
this,
the high
you'll like
caliber
this one,
yet,
Andy. When Clint campaigned for mayor of Carmel by the Sea in 1986, he used bumper stickers that said, "Go ahead, make me mayor."
Oh, Lord. Out of fear, I'll vote for him.
Did he win?
He did.
Yes,
He was the
he
mayor
did.
for a while.
Oh, okay.
I think it was like one of those like non-paying kind of,
Yeah.
you don't show up every day mayor kind of deals. It wasn't like he was like the mayor of New York or something like that where it was a real job.
This is actually the 10th movie directed by Clint.
This was the 10th? By this point, this was the 10th?
That's crazy.
Wow. I didn't think he became a director till later in his career. And then
His first movie was like early 60s, right?
first acting movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he
Okay.
was on a TV
He was
show.
born
and then-
1930s. Yeah, then he was in a TV show. Yep.
Wow.
I actually have in my notes, Clint popped her good.
This is the only Dirty Harry movie that has flashbacks.
Oh, okay.
And I was actually kind of happy that they showed, not happy, but like they show them getting raped and then they show the aftermath and stuff like that. I'm like, and the girl, the redhead, whatever her name is,
Right.
she's like, I picked out two good ones for you, right? And I'm like how'd those innocent kind of college girls get down on the beach? I'm glad they showed that flashback to where
Yeah.
they showed how easily duped they were that
Yeah.
they were working together. And she's like, come to the party, you'll have a good time. mild raping. Actually, it's not mild raping. I
But
guess when
then
you get
the redhead was jumping in on it too. Like she jumped on top of her at one point too. It was
she's a lesbian. That's what they do.
yeah, but then she was also trying to take. Then she tried to take advantage of.
Yes, right. Yeah,
she tried to take advantage of Mick.
Mick, or whatever his name is. Yes, and he didn't want it.
No,
because he's not gonna have sex with a lesbian. Come on.
And they're all scumbags. There you go. All of them.
I feel like he
Ray
totally.
wasn't that bad.
No, I thought she was fine. When the flashback, she looked very pretty. I thought they did a good job in making her look ugly when in the older scenes. But yeah,
Clint and Sondra Locke didn't have a scene until 50 minutes into the movie.
oh,
But this is like their 8th movie by this point, right?
so
Together.
I
everybody's
thought that
sick of
was
seeing them together.
pretty interesting since they almost had their two stories like moving parallel
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the actual like center plot, and then they converged later. That was kind of cool.
It was
Yeah,
kind of
that's
cool
right.
when Clint, when they said another suspect's been shot twice, once in the groin, once in the head. He's like connecting the dots. He's like, I think I got a serial killer on my hands here.
I forget who said it, but they called Clint a jamf.
Oh, it was
I got
Horace.
that.
Horace called
Horace
him that.
called him
Yeah,
Jack.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jive-ass
Forget I
motherfucker.
I like that. Yes.
I have that in my notes too.
And it was a jive ass mother. And then there was another time where someone screamed, "You mother." And they didn't say it either time. I was like, can we not say motherfucker in
But he said
1983?
he called her the C word at one point.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I
he
didn't pick up on that.
One of the bad guys did. Called,
During the rape or?
No, at the end when she was
When she
running
was
away.
killing him.
Yeah, he called her.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And when that happened, I'm like, did he say that, or did he
Yeah.
like choke on his own?
I only
Like, what
saw
was he
because it was
actually
in
trying
the
to say?
subtitles.
Oh,
That's how I
okay,
saw
I didn't
it.
have it on.
I didn't have
That'll
subtitles
The
on
lady
mine
in the
either.
bar said twat lips. I thought that was funny.
The
I
bar,
like
the
that.
bar that the redhead was at, where like they were all playing darts and stuff like that. Like she controlled every man in that place.
Yeah.
Was totally afraid of her. I'm not playing her. No, I don't even want to make eye contact with you. They're all so petrified of her. Oh, that was so funny. I thought that was a great scene though at that bar. And then Clint's like, "I'll take you outside.
I'll shoot you.
The girl, I keep forgetting her name. What's the main girl's name?
Sondra Locke.
Yeah, her character's name.
Jennifer, right?
Jen.
Jennifer something.
Jen, that's
I don't
right.
know.
Her name was Jen.
I know Harry. Harry's Clint.
Jennifer
That's all I
Harry,
know.
Jennifer,
Yeah,
and
her name's
Horace.
Jennifer.
That's all that matters.
She, her bright idea of escaping them is turning on the merry-go-round and getting on it. Because, like, what was...
She should have made
She
that a
should've just
distraction and, then
and gone out the other
kept going,
side.
Yeah.
No, she got on it. I thought that was dumb.
I was telling Jason last night, I was like, I've seen this movie before, and I definitely remember someone getting impaled on the unicorn. But as this movie's going along, I'm like, how is someone going to end up on that unicorn? They're currently riding on the, no one can just fall up and impale themselves.
I
So as soon as they
thought
walked
that
up the thing, I'm like, oh,
I guess that
like,
roller coaster
dude's-
goes over
dude's
top
falling
of... Yeah.
from
When that
there.
happened,
Okay.
and he gets shot a couple times and falls through the lights, I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. And then like he's falling, and when he lands on it, I'm like, awesome. I was like, that's a nice way to like switch it up a little bit. He like gets impaled on the
got
carousel. I was
impaled.
like, all right.
And that was fun how they tied all the murders to him because he had her gun on him.
Yeah.
Because he shot the mayor, chief of police, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so
He
said, he's like, they'll pin all these, they'll pin his murder on her too because it's her gun. And then he just held on to that gun.
I have a body count for this movie. Gonna go around. We got a body count. Let's see what you got. Our guest.
I'm gonna say 17.
17 for Connor.
I was thinking that same number, but I'm going to go 21.
So there were like 5 rapists. There were the 5 guys at the diner, the 3 guys in the car, the other car. Yeah, I'm going to say 23.
18.
Damn.
Connor at 17?
Yes.
Good job, man.
It's close.
Very good.
I didn't count Horace, damn. And I still was way over.
I know, right? I feel like that can't
That
be.
Horace kill was like so bad, man.
I
Like
know.
no need for that. I wonder if there's like I don't know the Dirty Harry mythos to know like does one of his people get killed in every movie? Like is it one of those he has a partner and they die every time kind of thing? Because that felt like they didn't want to give him a partner in this, but we'll just set this guy up to be his best friend and then we'll just kill him. and then we'll beat up your dog,
So
John
is the
Wick
first-
style.
Is the first one where he's like, "Are you feeling lucky, punk?" Is that
Yeah,
the first?
that's the
Dirty
first
Harry?
one.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no other iconic lines from the other
I
two?
don't know. There's Dirty Harry, Magnum Force, The Enforcer, Sudden Impact, and then the Deadpool, which
That's
had
the Deadpool.
yeah, which had Jim Carrey, a young Jim Carrey in it. I think he was the first person that gets killed in that, because they're doing like that plot is that someone's got like one of those celebrity death pools kind of things, and they're killing people to
Get points.
advance themselves in the death pool. I think in Deadpool, I think Jim Carrey's a singer or something like that. No, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie, and I'll never see it again. Like I said, this did not make me want to watch
No,
any more Clint
I agree.
Eastwood Dirty
It's the
Harry
only
movies.
Dirty Harry movie that he doesn't kill the culprit
Main
at
guy?
the end, I guess.
The bad guy?
Yeah.
The villain?
Killer at the end.
I mean, is she the bad guy? Are we saying she's the bad
Well,
guy?
she was a killer.
She was getting revenge,
Yeah.
though.
You're
I
not,
feel
he's
like-
not listening. This is the only time that Harry hasn't killed the killer at the end of the movie.
All right.
The person he was going after,
Yeah.
who he was looking for. Whether or not she's a killer, like whether or not, which obviously is a killer, but whether or not she's a bad guy. I mean, the other guys were bad guys, so it's bad guys killing bad guys. I don't know.
How many of the other ones was he sleeping with the killer
Yeah.
too? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
But he wasn't sleeping with her.
And have all the other ones been men?
Probably.
Like all the other
This is very
villains, I guess.
progressive. The
Yeah.
early '80s were very big on rape and revenge rape, because we
Yes.
had like all the Death Wish movies, and we liked our rape and we liked our revenge on rape too. I know it's not. I spit on your grave. That was a big.
I still spit on your grave.
Yeah, you want to rape and then get revenge on the rape. We liked that stuff then. That's
And
what
we
grew up
still
on.
do.
That's what Jason and I grew up on.
Yeah.
Connor,
Anybody
what'd you
have
grow
any
up
other
on? You're a
notes?
millennial. What'd you grow up on?
Like movie wise?
Nah, I'm just kidding, man.
He's not. Are you a millennial?
No,
I didn't think
technically
so.
The generation younger.
Gen Z.
Is that Gen Z? I don't really keep up with what
Yeah.
is what.
I don't know what's...
Millennial.
it's
I'm
millennials, then Gen
borderline
Z?
millennial. I'm Gen X, but if I was 2 years later, I would have been a millennial.
What comes after Gen X?
Gen Z, millennials.
Then it's
Gen
Gen
Z.
Z. All right. What
Yeah.
if there's no Y? Gen Y?
No,
There wasn't a Gen Y, right?
I don't
know
think
if
so.
they've named it yet or something.
And are we Generation X because Billy Idol had a band called Generation X, or is he?
But see,
is his-
Did he? I didn't
think-
know he had a
is his
band.
band
But I think
Generation
Billy
X?
Idol's a boomer.
He might be, but are we Generation X because Billy Idol had a band called Generation X, or did he name his band Generation X because that was the generation at the time?
I don't know.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know the answer
Probably
to
has
that.
nothing to do with it, I would think.
Gen Y or millennials are the same thing.
They are.
So
Yeah.
is Gen or millennials is the like youngest like 30? Is that what you have to be? Is it like 30?
To be a millennial? Is that what we're at now?
Millennials are
30?
born from 1980 to 94.
Yeah, so I'm 4 years
Wow,
out
man.
of the millennial pool. So you can be 29.
I've never
as
understood why
millennials.
millennials were born in 1980. They were like 20 by the time the millennium came around, or the new millennium.
Well, maybe
20.
I think it's supposed to be like when you're hitting adulthood.
Oh, is that
Well,
what
I
it
think
is?
that's how
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
I don't
that
know.
for that
I really don't
one
know.
generation.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I didn't become when I became 20. I didn't become X. I just
You
was
sure?
always what I was. All of a sudden, I was X.
Yeah. And then it's Gen Z, then Gen Alpha is from 2010
Gen Alpha?
to
That's a thing?
2024. So after 2024, kids born will be a different
So right
generation.
So now we're just gonna be Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta. Like we're just.
I guess.
Is that we're so
know.
we're
It
so
went-
lost
yeah.
for
Generation
I
ideas.
don't know who
themselves
comes up
alphas.
with this or
That's dangerous.
makes it official. I didn't even know I was Gen X till I was like 30. I was like, what's Gen X?
I just always thought it was the
I
Billy
just-
Idol band. I was like Generation X. Yeah, I love those guys.
I never even heard of
and
that
I was
band.
like, oh, I'm part of them.
That was
Do I
his
get some of their
punk
royalties?
band that he was in before he became...
Was that like the 70s?
Yeah, before he became the 80s new wave, I guess you would call
Yeah.
it, right? Yeah. Let's get some scores, kids. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
Oh boy.
So I didn't hate this movie. I definitely was
I
rooting
did.
for Jen to stab, shoot, kill everybody. I thought it was cheesy at times, and his acting is just, I can't stand that extra.
Clint Eastwood's acting?
Yeah,
He's been
like
acting the same for 93 years.
Yeah.
You like his son better, don't you?
His son is better looking, but I don't know if I've ever seen any of his stuff.
But Clint Eastwood back in like the 60s, he's a good looking man
Maybe.
back then.
Right now I just have the
his son
image of
looks
him
just
now.
like he did as
Yeah.
a
What? I don't know what his son has been in.
I don't know. I thought he was
Yeah.
a model.
Scott?
No, I think
Right?
he's an
Scott
actor.
Eastwood?
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a model too. I don't know. But Clint Eastwood just gives me that vibe of toxic
Rape.
masculinity that I can't stand.
He's always the good guy.
Yeah, but the good guy who
Directs himself to be the good guy.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
he's always right. He always kills the right people.
Yeah, apparently. But because I liked the girl's storyline and because she got to get all her revenge and because she got away with it, I was happy about that. If I could have just watched her movie and him not be in it, would have been great. But I gave it a 75.
75.
Interesting. One thing I didn't mention before is one of my favorite scenes in this entire movie was at the end when they're at the carousel and they're beating the shit out of her and just pummeling her. And then all of a sudden one of the guys happens to notice half a mile down the boardwalk,
Yes.
Clint standing in the moonlight just holding his gun. I'm like,
Watching them beat her?
When was he gonna make a move on them? Like when they beat her down to the ground
Yeah.
and started raping her again.
Almost.
Like,
Wait now.
time
Wait,
for me to
wait.
step
Wait.
in now.
Not
Hold
yet.
on now.
Not yet.
So it was just the right time where the guy looked up and was like, oh, look at that guy way down there. Maybe we should stop hitting her. I did not like this movie. I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan. I love all the Westerns, Unforgiven and all the spaghetti Westerns. I've never been a big cop movie guy, and this just felt like all the things that Lethal Weapon made fun of as kind of being the comedy version of this. I don't like this. So I give this a 55. And I'll never watch another Dirty Harry movie ever again. I'll watch Clint Eastwood movies, not Dirty Harry movies. They're
I'm not a
my
big Dirty Harry fan either. I'm not a fan of this movie. I'm not a fan of Sondra Locke. I don't see why she was such a leading lady. I didn't think she was that very pretty. I'm not a looker myself, so I don't really talk like that too much. But I didn't feel that she was a leading lady material here. I give this film a 40. I'll never watch it again.
Whoa. All right. So I definitely think I'm the highest on this movie, but not from score. So I didn't have
Just
a lot
high.
of totally. So I definitely enjoyed Clint's performance, whether it be sometimes it's a little ham-fisted or cheesy, but I still was like, okay, I can get behind this. Like some of the scenes, there was a lot of tension going on. I like the action. I was surprised Clint could keep up with as much of the physical stuff as he
Yeah.
Or his
age.
stunt double could.
Oh
at least.
yeah, well yeah. But even him just running when you could tell it was him, I was like, wow, okay, he's got it. But yeah, definitely enjoyed it a little bit. We'll probably be checking out the first one just to see if that's better. I hope it is. I hope it's better. But I will give it a 70 even for this one.
I want to hear what you think of the original Dirty Harry when you watch it.
I'll definitely give it a go.
Not a positive or negative. I just want to hear what you hear because
Critics gave it a 53, audience a 54.
Huh. And do you have what the other ones were? Was this a...
I said 53 and 54.
No, but was this a good Dirty Harry movie, a bad,
Do you want the other Dirty Harry movies?
I just didn't know if you had
We
those.
don't do that.
I mean, if this was a Star Wars movie, we'd
Well, what was
compare it to all
the-
the other ones and
I
stuff
never
like
did
that.
that.
Nah.
What was the first one called?
Dirty
Dirty
Harry.
Harry?
I was just wondering, if this is a good Dirty Harry movie or a bad one. I don't remember
Are there good
enough.
Dirty Harry movies?
I'm sure the first one was really good. They wouldn't have made a bunch of them.
The
This one
first
doesn't even have a
one
good name.
has an
Sudden Impact.
89 and a 90.
Sudden
okay.
Impact isn't even a good
Wow.
name for a Dirty Harry
Nah.
movie, That's more like a... Sudden Impact sounds like a
of the
Seagal
world?
movie or a...
That's what I was
like
thinking.
a...
End of the world type movie, yeah.
When
Comets
when
coming
Andy
down.
mentioned do you want to come on for Sudden Impact? I'm like, oh, is that like a disaster movie? What is that? He's like, oh no, it's Dirty Harry. I'm like, oh okay. I'm like, oh sure. So
It does not sound like Dirty Harry, yeah.
You have the other Rotten Tomato score for the other ones?
What was the other one called?
Magnum
Very
Force.
needy, dude.
I just kind of want to know if this is comparable to the rest of them, or
Magnum Force was 68 critics and 77 audience.
So that's a higher than
and
this
then
one.
The Enforcer. I think that's what it was called. That was the third one.
Is this the right one? No,
No.
that says 2022. Are you sure it's called The Enforcer?
I'm not even sure. How about the Deadpool? Check that one out. That was the last one. That probably was like.
And then
all
the Outlaw
we're
Josie
we're
Wales
done
you could
making
do,
this.
yeah.
Outlaw Josie Wales. That's different though.
I don't know if it's pulling up.
That's all right. It's
Deadpool.
pulling up. It's
Oh,
pulling
the
up right now.
Deadpool. Deadpool being 2 words.
Yeah,
Dummy.
Yeah, sorry.
1988,
Yeah.
53 critics and 44 audience.
Excellent. And Michelle, thank you for yelling there.
I know, I heard that. I was like, what'd she just say?
She probably said, "Shut up."
What do we
Shut
have?
up!
What do we have for next week, Andy?
I think we're doing. Are we doing Never Say Never Again with Dave?
It's either that or we were doing Trading
Oh,
Places.
Trading Places with Paul, new
Yeah.
guy Paul. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. He really wanted to do a podcast, and we gave him a list, and he picked Trading Places months ago, and I've kind of been holding it there for him, holding it over him also. So I'll fire him if he.
What was the other one?
Never Say Never Again. It's,
Oh, is that the one you said was
It's Sean Connery, James Bond.
Never seen a
years
James Bond
after
movie.
He was James Bond.
Okay.
He's
Well,
like
I'm looking
old man.
forward to seeing.
But it's got Kim Basinger,
I'm not sure
Oh.
how you say that.
and
I say Basinger.
That's from Family Guy.
and
Oh.
a couple other people that we know. But
Okay.
yeah, I think we'll do that with Dave if we can get him on.
Yeah, we'll
or
see,
Trading Places.
see whose schedule works best
Yep.
for next week, and look for that on Spreaker. You can download, rate, subscribe, review, do all those fun things. It's exciting, a new podcast on all our socials. The Jazoo on Instagram, Jazoo74 on Twitter. This has been the exciting, a new podcast. I'm Jason, and there was music.
Made it easier, right? AEGonzo1 on Twitter, AEGonzo1970 on Instagram. I'm Andy.
Dana Caps on TikTok and Twitter, and Dana Cap 77 on Instagram. I'm Dana.
You'll know by heart one day.
Variance reviews on Instagram. I'm Connor.